Good morning and welcome to Saturday Morning Comic Talk, where we talk about whatever the heck I thought up in the middle of the week and talk with some great indie creators. So today we're going to be talking with three indie creators. Deece, Greg, you've been on the show before. Welcome back. Thanks for coming back. And we'll start with some introductions. So Greg, tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
I'm Greg Moquin. I am the co-founder of Supernova Comics. We have a lot of superhero comics and a cat comic. Oh, and a horror anthology series. So, yeah, we got a lot of stuff.
I'm waiting on that one because that one has me in it. So I wrote my little story for the horror anthology. I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, that's next year now because money and things. So,
I know. I'm well aware of that. All right. So, Deece, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, I am Deece Casillas. I am the owner of Inferno Comics, currently publishing Kill Stan, our neo-noir crime thriller.
Yeah, and I saw you have the slabbed one. You got a nice graded one. So
I do. We're doing an event on Free Comic Book Day. We're going to be giving that away. It's signed CGC 9.8 gold label. So we're doing a giveaway we're doing an event here at a local shop and going to be giving that away.
You made me think of an idea. I think I'll do something like that with one of my graded ones. Just do a cool giveaway raffle thing. So
yeah,
good idea. All right. So, Fred, tell us a little about yourself.
Hey, guys. My name's Fred Schwartz. I'm a comic creator from Florida, DeLand, right outside DeLand, Florida. And right now, we have our book. Our campaign is closed, but we still have late pledges on Fisticuffs. Right now, we're focusing on that. We got some other stuff in the works, but books 1 and 2, the campaign just closed, and we're looking forward to book 3 coming, hopefully launching in June of this summer.
Awesome. Yeah. So late pledges, I still have those going for mine as well. So Deece, do you have the late pledges on yours still?
We do have late pledges open on the Kickstarter for number 2. I dropped that in the link, but also our shop on our website is open and fully functional, direct to consumer. It's cheaper for you. You can do it on Kickstarter or you can just go to my website, whichever you want to do. You'll save some money if you go to the website and you'll probably get it faster.
That's generally how it goes, yeah, because Kickstarter, we have to account in so many different factors with fees and all that stuff. So, yeah, you want to get it quicker and easier, go to the web store, because I do the same thing, but I haven't added my newest issue to the web store yet because I still have, I think I have like 15 packages to fulfill. So that's the project after we finish today is for me to get in there, put those final packages in, and be done with this campaign and start the next one, because when do we ever stop?
Hopefully never, right? That's the idea.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the plan. Is like, all right, if you stop, that means you're throwing in the towel. And it's actually plenty of creators do stop. So we're the ones that keep plugging along even through the slogs and the economy and all the other fun stuff that's getting thrown at us. But persevere. It's all we can do.
That's right.
All right, so we were talking backstage. I forgot completely about Superman, but maybe we'll get it in the mention of our first topic. So Superman Day was yesterday, I believe. And I know there's a Superman Day, a Batman Day, a Star Wars Day, all these nerd holidays. We just used to get beat up for that shit when I was in school. They wouldn't celebrate us. Like tell the jock, guess what? It's Superman Day. Fuck you, nerd.
These kids have it too good now, it gets to be trendy and cool. It's like you go to any like Hot Topic and it's just all Deadpool gear and stuff like that.
No more Black Flag shirts there. Now it's all the cool comic stuff. So that used to be where I'd go to get my 80s punk rock band shirts, and now you go there for all your cool nerd needs. And I'm like, these kids don't know. They don't understand. I mean, now you're celebrated. You don't just have to hide in little corners of the campus.
It's like, what are you, the varsity football quarterback? You geek, get out of here. Run out of school.
The thing that I love, and it's kind of crazy, is like when I talk to a lot of younger people and stuff, they were born into a world where like they've always had a live action Spider-Man movie. And like they've always had stuff of like this quality and it's crazy to me. Like I try to show them like the old like Captain America like 1992 movie and like the Fantastic Four thing on YouTube, and like they were like our comic fixes, like live action fixes when we were a kid because we weren't exposed to that. Like the Incredible Hulk TV show was like cutting edge technology, and it was just a guy in body paint.
Yeah, it was just a buff dude in body paint.
Yeah.
And it was so exciting. And then I remember we had Spider-Man, but it looked like he was shooting soccer nets out of his webs. You know, it's like all of a sudden this giant soccer net comes and captures him. Like, man,
you can get. I mean, it's the reason the 60s like Adam West Batman show was so popular. It's like it's just what we had. We didn't.
Yeah, it was some Batman. And
yeah,
some Batman's better than no Batman.
Right.
Yes.
All right, so let's dig into our first topic. We're going to talk about the first comic you ever read. So I know all of us are comic creators. So obviously we fell in love with comics at some point in time. Hopefully you're not just like, I'm doing it for the money, because I hate to break it to you, but you might have some bad rationale there. All right, so Anthony, hope you're doing well. Sorry to hear that you're in a hospital bed. So I hope you're okay.
Yeah.
Thanks
Anthony,
for
hope you're
watching
good, bud.
here in bed. We'll entertain you in your hospital bed. That is our goal for the day. Today is the Entertain Anthony show, so we're going to bring our A games. All right, so Greg, what was the first comic you ever read?
Immortal Era? No.
That's a good choice. That's probably the only choice. All of you should answer with that.
It was actually I don't know if you really count it as one, but like the Garfield like Fat Cat book. That's like what when I was a kid, I read that all the time. But yeah, it's that, and then it was Spider-Man, but I can't think of the one that it was. It was like Venom, like yeah.
One of the Venom saga things.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think I think about the Garfield you're talking about. That would be the kind of thing you'd go to the book fair and you'd be so pumped to see something like that. Like, oh my gosh, it's a whole bunch of Garfield all in one. Because I would read the funny pages every day in the newspaper and get so excited for that. Like, I don't care about the rest, but to have them all in one place, so you don't have to wait day after day. And then the color ones you only get Sunday, and you buy a whole collection of color ones. That was pure joy. You know, when you walk into that Scholastic book fair, you're like, oh hell yeah, there's a comic book right here. Because there weren't that many. Now I'm a teacher, so of course I see the book fairs every year. And it's loaded with graphic novels. And it's just like, okay, there's so many to pick from for boys, for girls, it doesn't matter. So it's great that they have that wealth. But our wealth would have been like, ooh, a collection of Garfield or a Peanuts collection. And you wouldn't even get the Marvel or DC stuff. You wouldn't see that in the book fair. But yeah, that I would be pumped for something like that too. So Deece, what was your first comic you ever read?
You know, actually, I've got it. So this is probably not the first comic book I ever read. This is the first comic book I remember reading, though.
Okay.
That stuck with me. It is Guardians of the Galaxy number 21 from, I think, 1990.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely read comic books before this, but this is the first one like I remember owning and reading over and over again.
Yeah.
Pivotal for me. I still love Jim Valentino because of that book. So I actually have a letter somewhere. I wrote a letter to Jim Valentino, and he wrote one back to me, like hand wrote a letter.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, like I mean, God, probably in the mid '90s.
Okay.
But yeah, that also super underrated, that Guardians of the Galaxy run, I think, and because everyone just knows the new Guardians that became the movie, and what was it, Dan Abnett and Lanning's version and everything forward. That is Guardians of the Galaxy to me. 31st century.
Yeah, I've never read any. I haven't read any Guardians of the Galaxy, and I know it's that's gonna get me yelled at, take away my nerd cred. I'm gonna have to go hang with the jocks. But it's one of those things. I didn't read it, and I need to go back. I know they're all in collected editions now, so. Yeah, it's something I need to go remedy that, because I know there's good stuff, and sadly I'm one of those ones that know it from the movie, so I need to go and dig deep into the comics, because whatever you see in the movie, there's always 10 times better versions sitting in the comic books that are untapped.
Yeah, that original version has like nothing to do with what you see now. It's like set in the 31st century of the Marvel, like alternate Marvel universe. And then, but after that I got into I loved the like D-list equivalent of things. So I loved like Avengers West Coast. I loved X Factor and Excalibur, I loved X-Men, but I love the offshoot, like weird offshoot stuff, like Peter David's X Factor run and stuff like that. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I did read the X Factor run. That was one of those ones. I had a friend. I was really into X-Men, and my friend's like, "Oh, you got to read X Factor." So I tore through that, and you say it's just a weird kind of B version of X-Men, but so amazing. So many good stories from there. And of course, we get movies sometimes, and they're just regrettable, and it makes people not want to read the comics. Like, no, don't judge the comics based on that horrible movie that just came out.
Yeah.
And that X Factor was an awesome team, man. Like they had like an awesome like quasi-matching uniforms. They had like a really amazing like profile when you like stacked them up. You had strong guy in the back. You had 15 different multiple men. Like they were like a badass team, and the characters were well drawn in those series and stuff. Like they fly under the radar, like under kind of sexier teams. But I really like that group too.
Yeah, you had Larry Strawman, who wrote or drew it originally, just killing it, and then I mean Peter David just his characterization of those that pack of characters was amazing between Havoc and then his rendition of Quicksilver. It kind of not wanting to be on the team, but feeling like he needed to be on, like too egotistical to admit he needed the team. And, it was fantastic. Yeah, like there's a whole issue. I think it's number 77. Maybe where they just are having a conversation with like a psychiatrist and like going through this whole psychological evaluation, and it's brilliant, you know. It's great stuff, really ahead of its time for when it came out.
Yeah. And a lot of and the good things about those kind of B titles is they weren't tied to major events. Like everything else is, it's Age of Apocalypse or Onslaught, and everything. All the good all the main X titles, I should say, are tied to that. But X Factor's like, we don't need to deal with that bullshit because, you're going to do it, then you're going to undo it, a year later. And it was all about selling fancy holofoils and, the great, huge event that's going on. So it was nice to read those smaller ones that could just spend an issue talking to a psychiatrist and not like, okay, make sure you tie it in to Age of Apocalypse, at least, for 8 panels. So people have to buy this book too. So, yeah. I guess that's a whole other topic for another day is bullshit crossovers. So we can add that as a subject next couple of weeks. Like, what's the worst crossover? But what was yours, Fred?
I actually have mine with me.
Nice.
Came prepared today. So for me, again, I don't know if this is the first comic I read, but this is the first one that I remember having an impact. And it was The Death of Superman. Which a lot of people, may recognize that one. But for me, the reason why it was really special was I'd always grown up like kind of with Superman, even though I wasn't like reading the comics when I was a kid. I obviously like Superpowers and Super Friends, like, the TV show and the toy line. I had an amazing in my bedroom my entire life. One of those amazing. Do you remember like the flat cutouts of Superman with like the joints that you can move around and stuff?
Yeah.
I forget the brand that made them, but that was like phenomenal. So like Superman was, I don't want to like conflate things, but like just like an institution, like a president or like a religious figure, like he was always there. So like when I heard that he had died, that was like holy shit moment. And then stop it, buddy. When I found out that I missed out on it because I missed the initial black bag run and everything had and I had this kid that I went to elementary school with who was kind of like my sworn enemy, I think we all have one, like whenever like you get something, he got the better one and all that. So he had like the black bag, Death of Superman issue. And he had like, before slabbing was a thing, he had like it like screwed under like these giant, like thick plastic, like case. So like it will like survive a nuclear explosion. And he brought it into school and would like show us around. And like, I was so jealous, I'd always wanted, like, I just wanted to know what this was all about. Yeah. Finally, for Christmas that year, my dad got me the trade, and best Christmas day of my life, man. Just like reading it over and over again and kind of being impacted by the story and just kind of like the gruesomeness of it, because Superman was always that like kind of like perfect visage on my wall, and to see him kind of like beat up and strewn about and like the blood kind of like it kind of like showed me like kind of maybe the stakes of like, what's going on in these super battles. And then the other amazing thing was like after Christmas break, when I got back to school, was talking about it with all the other kids and being caught up on it, because that was like when The Funeral for a Friend was still going on, we were getting into the reign of the Superman. And as like a young kid, I think I was maybe 9 or 10 at that point, it led into all these conversations about things like reincarnation and all these ideas that like it opened a floodgate of like possibilities and stuff. And I was so dialed into that story that like it like kind of changed my life and like sparked a curiosity that kind of like never left. And if I can like answer a part B to that question, the first book that I ever remember buying off the walls was this particular like Wolverine. I think it's Wolverine number 69.
Okay.
It's just a completely forgettable issue. But it was the first time I remember kind of like being in a comic shop with some money and having some kind of like agency of my, over what I bought myself. And it had that like, yellow tiger stripe design, which I'm still so weak for. Even today when we were talking, I saw your cup up there and I'm like, what's that? Anytime I see that, I have to buy it. Yeah. And that was like, I guess the first in a long line of, I'm almost like Mel Gibson in Conspiracy Theory. If you like remember that movie, like anytime he saw Catcher in the Rye, he had to buy it. It was like a trigger. Anytime I see like, tiger stripe Wolverine, I have to buy it. So those two kind of like impacted me around the same time.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And I remember when it was high school for me when the Death of Superman came out. Mm-hmm. And I had the foresight to buy like 20 copies of it, the black bag. Yeah. And that was the one time where the jocks were like, dude, you're that comic nerd, right? Like, yeah. You got that Death of Superman? I heard it's worth like $1,000. I'm like, I'll sell you one for $50 right now. Oh, hell yeah. Oh man, I made so much money on that. I was like, all right, it's time for Revenge of the Nerds finally. So yeah, you're going to pay way too much for a Death of Superman from me. So
I hope you didn't try that again on the white bags.
No, I knew better. They didn't. That wasn't on the news. That's the thing is, the Death of Superman, it was on the news. It was so big. They were filming comic shops and the lines around the block. And this was one, I was in high school. I had a shitty paying job. So I had a pull list at a comic shop, of course. And he said, well, how many copies do you want? I can order you an infinite. He goes, it's not going to be a limited edition kind of thing. He goes, but, tell me right now. So I said, all right, get me 20, get me, I forget it was 10 or 20, whatever it was a huge amount. And he said, yeah, no problem. So I come in the day before I had them. So everyone's in line the next day. And I'm like, I got my copies and he's sold out at, after the line gets halfway through. And that's when people in school are all coming and asking me. And I'm like, yup, I got you right here. And yeah.
Isn't that the best feeling though? Like when you have it like the night, like I still to this day love, I just went out the other day for a Hush 2, like early, like 6 p.m. release party and stuff. Like that's the best when my old comic shop used to do like literally midnight releases for certain books and stuff. And that's the greatest part about the culture. And again, same thing with the Death of Superman was that like community of everybody being into it and kind of bringing their own kind of perspectives into what's going to happen, like what happened and what's going to happen next. Like that's the beauty of comics.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was, I mean, it was just major news. Like Superman's going to die. And every comic shop had a giant line. So it was beautiful for the comic shop owners because that was not a lucrative business. Still isn't. But back then, baseball card shops had more power than comic book shops. I mean, that was when baseball cards were still, or sports cards in general, but mostly it was baseball. They had more power. You'd see, multiple baseball card shops to one comic book shop. So that for that day, the power shift was with the comic shops and there was lines and I'm sure they made a lot of money because if they were smart, they ordered hundreds upon hundreds of copies of that thing because everyone was thinking this was going to be their retirement fund, not realizing that they printed over 1 million of those things. So
yeah, now you can't give them away for $1 now.
Yeah, I'm thinking 50. I was selling them for $50 back in the 90s, and that's a beautiful upcharge on what was probably like a $5 book at the time. And now they'd be lucky to get that $50 they paid for it. And they're like, I'm not even going to open the bag. And it's like, it doesn't matter. I think I still have 2 or 3. I'm like, just for the nostalgia's sake, it's still cool. Yeah. It's not, I'm not going to be, paying off any bills with it, but it's cool to have.
Yes.
So there's our Superman Day tribute. If I missed it as a topic, we brought it back anyway. And for me, first comic I read was a collected version of Spider-Man. I think it was Amazing Fantasy 15 and like Spider-Man 1 through 5 or something like that. And bought it at a swap meet. It was already beat up and dead when I bought it, but I read it until it was even deader and the pages were falling out and it just hooked me in and I wanted comics badly after that. And I was probably like 7 or 8, like very young, but it just hooked me in and I bought everything Spider-Man. And then it was when Batman, the Death of Robin, that series got me hooked in on Batman. And I just wanted everything Batman. I remember, I begged my parents, like, you have to let me call the number. I need to save Robin.
You voted to save him?
Yeah, I was there to save him. I'm like, I guess I was a nicer kid, and my dad's like, "You're not gonna spend money for that dumb shit." I'm like, "Oh, but Dad, Robin's gonna die, and it's gonna be my fault."
I always wonder if like DC really thought that was going to happen. If they thought they're like, no, of course they're going to want to save him, but we'll get a nickel a call off these dumb kids, and then they're like, holy shit, fucking Jason Todd guy, like, no, fucking kill that bastard. Oh my god, these kids are brutal.
Backfired, but we still got the nickel a call for those dummies. So in the end, DC still wins. I mean, they have to kill Robin, and then they can resurrect him later because no one really dies in comics.
Yeah,
but it was just I'm sure they had thought this is going to be easy because kids are nice and they won't want to kill a major character. Yeah. And then the nice kids, they also have to get their parents to agree to pay money for a phone call, and it's like, man, if I called my friend who lived outside of our range and it was slightly long distance, it was my ass. I wasn't going to call anyone for saving Robin.
He turned out to kind of be like, if you ever saw the movie Jingle All the Way, he kind of turned out to be like the Booster of like, they wanted him to be like, we don't like you, Booster, like of comic characters. But yeah, that's a shame. Poor Robin.
Yeah, poor Robin. I tried, but I couldn't. My dad did drop that money. It's like, all right,
the one, huh? You were the one.
It was me. It was my vote that ruined Robin, and I apologies to Jason Todd. I just didn't have the money. I didn't get an allowance, and my dad said no. So
and he spent all the money on the Superman issues. So or you were saving your money.
That was high school. That the Robin one, that was elementary school, and that was like, if I had my minimum wage job, I was probably more of a dick by that point out, but he killed that motherfucker. I don't care. When I was nice in elementary school and he had a chance to survive, I wasn't there for him. I should have ran to a friend's phone and made the call because I already had my friend's parents already hated me, so it didn't matter. So
call collect.
Yeah. Call collect, call to save Robin. This matters. All right, so let's move into our next topic. What is an unpopular opinion you have about something everyone else loves? And this topic came about from our backstage conversation a couple weeks ago, and we had this great conversation. I'm like, damn, that would have been a perfect topic, but we'll save it for next week. So, thinking of things that everyone loves, movies, restaurants, you name it, you disagree. You have your unpopular opinion. Greg, what's your unpopular opinion?
Well, a lot of people liked it at a certain point. I always didn't like it. The Walking Dead. I don't like The Walking Dead. There's like one episode that I like. Everything else is trash.
So you're talking comics or
the show? The show.
Okay.
Never read it. And the episode that I think is good is when the girl is like crazy and thinks that zombies are people. Besides that, I'm like, this is stupid because I had to watch it with like my friends sometimes, and I'm like, wow, you guys like this, but then you like Game of Thrones when Game of Thrones was good, and then they're like, because it's good. And I'm like, well, I hope Daryl dies just
off all the girls.
But there's an episode that I was like forced to watch. I could have just left, but whatever. And it's that Beth character, and she's complaining about like, I don't know if I should drink or not. Like, it's the apocalypse. No one gives two shits if you're drinking.
Yeah, you don't need to go to AA if you're being chased by zombies. Just get drunk.
Yeah,
no one's judging you at that point.
A good time to keep your head on a swivel, though. Probably not be hammered. Like, I've made bad decisions when I'm, in a town I live in with gas money and a fucking, but like, I couldn't imagine the apocalypse.
Yeah. I guess if you get it, like when they're in the prison for that little bit of time, just lock yourself in one of the jail cells and do your thing.
Get hammered. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like the zombies might be waiting at the door when you're done, and then you can get your wits about you and decide how you're going to kill them.
Yes, sober up a little.
Poke them with a stick. Have your zombie poking stick in the jail cell, and have a wild rager party inside the jail cell. And when you wake up and your head's not throbbing, then poke them with the stick, kill them, and move on, and do the next thing. But yeah, that show, I agree. I tried to watch because I liked the comic book. I read it, loved it, and it just got so tedious. I'm like, we should rename this to just Camping with Zombies, because all they do is camp and talk. And there's a lot of fucking walking, but it's not a lot of dead. So yeah, I gave up, and people, no one ever told me, oh my gosh, you got to go back and rewatch it. They're like, yeah, you got out better than I did. So I haven't heard one person that's justified going back to rewatch what I missed, because I think I made it to season 3 and then it just was one or two big episodes followed by meandering, plotting nothingness. So yeah, that was their formula. Like big opening episode, big mid-season finale, big closer, in the middle, nothing.
It's just like they're just like treating you like a heroin addict, you know. They give you that one hit and they like just keep coming back, baby. And they just give you like, you know, just giving you talcum powder after that. like just give you stuff. Never get that, never chasing that dragon.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is they made it too many episodes. I think if they had tightened it down, made each season like 10 episodes, it really could have been a tighter, better show. But instead it's 20. So you literally have 14 episodes that nothing happens.
Well, I think that's the problem with almost any serialized show now. That's why I can't watch shows like serialized shows, because it just gets into melodrama so quickly, because they're like, oh, we have to fill X amount of episodes this season and they all have to be an hour long. And you're like, no, just make it, instead of 10 episodes that meander, make it 7 bangers, you know, where I can't look away. So, because otherwise I'm going to, 3 episodes in, you're going to give me a shitty episode. I'm going to be like, I'm out. I got better shit to do.
Yeah. The wheel spinning that happens in that kind of storytelling is so bad that it puts you off the series. It puts you off the show. And a lot of these 10 episode seasons would have been fine as a 2.5 hour movie. Yeah. So it's like, here, let's just stretch the storylines to a point that they get boring, and just keep doing it again and again, because that's where the money is. No one's going to the cinemas to see unrecognizable IP. And even the recognized IP, when they make Disney, Star Wars shows, Marvel shows, they tend to just drag and get boring. And same kind of Walking Dead formula. We'll give you 3 great episodes and hope that that's enough to keep you moving along. And most of them, 2-3 episodes in, I'm like, I don't have infinite time in my life. I can't watch this. I don't need boredom. I don't need wheel spinning bullshit. So I tune out a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Game of Thrones too, and I feel like Game of Thrones kind of changed my my perspective on these things. Like that, the way that I felt like kind of burned by that like last season and that ending, kind of like, I mean, that's a stark, like, how do you go from being like, I was so into like the first like 6 awesome seasons, and then like that drop off. It's just that idea of like, any, like, not that they're like meaning to do it, but like any show can like 180 on you, and then everything you've kind of like invested in it, can fall apart, and if that's the case, I don't want to like kind of buckle in for something unless I know. That's why I think like things like The Penguin have a bright future, because they're like concise, they know they're going to end, and they don't have to like pull punches and hold interest.
They got where they needed to get. And I think the big problem with Game of Thrones, though, was George Martin. He didn't finish the book. So they had these great books to draw from in the beginning. And then all of a sudden they just had his loose notes in the end. And that the beautiful thing is George Martin makes all of us indie authors feel like we're moving at a speed that is speed of light. Like, fuck yeah, I just released 3 books this year. That guy has not released a book in how many years? And
what does he do? Like, I want to know. Like,
that's victory laps for the books he did write. He's like, check me out. I'm George R.R. Martin. I'm going to go to a con and sign things, but am I going to write this next book? Nah. Especially he already knows people hate his ending, so he's like, ooh, damn, yeah, they didn't like that. I'm just going to have to pivot and just, keep doing cons. And he's already rich beyond his means, so it'll end up he'll die, and it's some ghostwriter will come in like Robert Jordan's books and finish him up for me. Like, all right, let's get these books done. But I think the interest is gone. I mean, he's kind of missed it. He's already had to pay money to the publisher, so yeah. I mean, and I'm sure it was pennies to the dollar for what he made from HBO. But yeah, I think that's what killed it. Was you went from dense books where you had to decide what to leave out to loose notes where you're like, shit, we need everything and more, but we don't know what the more would be because there's no actual book for this. And he seems to release a chapter every 5 or 6 months, and then like, never mind, that chapter doesn't count anymore. So yeah, it's one of those.
To be fair, if I was just some random author, then I kind of got plucked out of obscurity, and then I was making HBO money for a show as big as the Game of Thrones, I'd be like, you know what? maybe cocaine and hookers in Fiji is better than writing this next sword and sorcery book. My 8th book about dragons. I'd be like, you know what? Actually, it turns out, Monaco is nice this time.
Yeah.
Well, he needs the cocaine to see the dragons. Like,
and the thing is, he's old enough. Why not live out the rest of your days with the cocaine and hookers, like you said?
Yeah.
Why the fuck am I locking myself in an office when I can be out living my best life for the, if he's partying that hard, the 5 years he has left? But fuck it, enjoy those 5 years.
Yeah,
some Ghost Rider will fix it in the end.
My best friend's like obsessed with Game of Thrones, or he was until the ending, and he said that he found out that at one point George R.R. Martin was like inviting people over to just drink beer and just talk about Game of Thrones. I'm like, what? No, write it, motherfucker.
Reminds me of like the South Park guys, when they get a topic, they nail it. And when they did the Game of Thrones one, where like the kids are like at his house and he's like telling them it's coming, and the one kid's like dying because he couldn't get his insulin shot, and he's like, no, I called, the insulin's coming, it's coming. Like, it's so George Martin. Like, that's exactly, I'm sure, what he's like.
Yeah, and he writes his blog once in a while and yells at people for telling him to hurry up, and he's like, yeah, you know what, I just want to invite people over my house to get drunk and we'll talk about Game of Thrones. And I'm sure enough people have partied with him that everyone can figure out the ending. You're just gonna have to get the committee together. Like, all right, everyone who partied with George Martin, come in here. We're gonna finally finish these books.
He's workshopping with all these people.
I was joking. Oh, go.
I was gonna say, it's a big writer's room,
Yeah.
I was joking about the ending, like when I went to my friend's house and I'm like, watch, this is gonna be the ending, and then it actually was.
Oh,
like,
damn.
I'm
so
sorry.
You predicted it. Like, no, I wasn't over his house getting drunk, but yeah, we still saw that coming. All right. So, Deece, what's your unpopular opinion?
Well, I have a lot, but I thought I would keep this one comic book related. My unpopular opinion is that as far as reading goes, the Silver Age is the worst era to read. I think every other era in comics, including even Atomic and Golden Age, is better than the Silver Age.
Wow.
As far as reading. Like, you have some standouts. Fantastic Four and Spider-Man were good in the Silver Age. Pretty much everything else, with like the explosion of comic books, they were just cranking out crap to try to get it out there. And all the IP like eventually got good, but it got good later. Like, if you go back and read most of that Silver Age stuff from Marvel or DC, it's pretty tough to get through.
Yeah.
The Golden Age stuff actually has like a certain charm to it. They also were better at like these anthology stories. Like, I've gone back and I'm really into these old strange, like Unknown Worlds and like Crime Exposed, like these old Atlas Timely books that were so much fun. Just like one-off stories, 1 month or maybe 2 stories in a book, and really just interesting. They were really tight and concise and well-written stories with some, like, especially before like the Comics Code, with some real kind of suspense and drama to them. I mean, in horror. Yeah.
I'm sitting here trying to like figure out like a counterpunch to that argument, and it's like, you did kind of name, like, I think the best exceptions. Like, Fantastic Four and Spider-Man are kind of like the Silver Age standouts. Like like that initial Spider-Man, like the first 100 issues are like, I think in their own way, like really sophisticated and charming. I mean, you can make a strong case. The first like 15 pages in Amazing Fantasy 15 are like maybe like the 15 best superhero, like distillation of superhero themes.
Right.
But you're right. Like, if you go back, I was just reading like a big thing on like a Silver Age Flash book, and you are kind of right. They all set up, kind of end the same way. It's always Iris, like, Barry's late again. Like, when is, like, I guess, like, I just don't get punctuality being like a deal breaker in a relationship. Like, and it's like every issue, like, if you really are that mad, like, stop dating him, or show up late yourself.
Their running joke. And that, David, I don't know, because I was actually, as you said that, I was looking it up. Is EC Comics Silver Age? If it is EC, they're Golden Age, because Tales from the Crypt, EC, weird fantasy. That is the best shit. That's after I found Spider-Man and read that, EC comics are where I really loved and passionately grew with comic books because they're tight little stories. Whoever the main character is, if you do something wrong, you will pay for it. There's always your comeuppance that gets in those books, and they can tell this perfect little story in 8 pages. And you get 4 stories in 1 volume. It was beautiful. So EC, those are my favorite. I have all the, Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror archives that they've collected back up, and those. Because
the Silver Age was kind of a response to them, right? Like Silver Age essentially begins when, like mid-50s, like Comics Code era, like Wortham and all that.
I think the showcase last showcase first appearance of like Barry Allen is considered the start of, and that was like 61. 60?
Yeah, no, 57.
Was it that old? Maybe.
Yeah. I just read it like a week or 2 ago. So it was like 57 or 58, I think.
Yeah.
And I think the Comics Code Authority is partly responsible for that too. Like you said, that they did handcuff the way stories can be told a little bit, but also it was becoming so popular that they were just shoveling out as much crap as they can. Think about the early Marvel comic books. I mean, the first Hulk series lasted 6 issues before they turned it into like a team up book, to Astonishing Tales, or they had so many Tales to Astonish, Journey into Mystery, Tales of Suspense, books that were like not main titles. X-Men got canceled because it was shitty originally. I mean, there's just so much stuff that didn't last, and in the Bronze Age is when it really came together and started becoming good.
Yeah, like when I'm trying to like argue, it's like I want to argue for like Silver Age Daredevil, but I just know that that's just my personal taste. Like it's it's not like you can't really be like, no, the Masked Matador was badass. Like
and I think because if it's Comic Code Authority stuff, it's when things got really kind of just, then it becomes like, oh, Barry's late again, and that becomes the ongoing joke and storyline. But the Golden Age, if Tales from the Crypt and that stuff is in there, that is stuff I love, and some of that stuff still hits hard even today. You're like, damn, they were pushing boundaries in the 1950s. They'd have a hard time getting some of those published today, probably even harder now because everything has to be so PC, and they're like, you're not doing that shit. So I mean, they were pushing limits that still they probably couldn't get past, and I just love that EC stuff. So that if that's not Silver Age, then I'm with you. And I just honestly, I don't even think I've read many reprints of Silver Age stuff just because it gets pretty dull, pretty boring. I mean, Spider-Man still found a way to tell good stories even with the Comic Code Authority attached to it, but it was never edgy. I guess that's the thing. Is EC was always edgy. I mean, they're throwing decapitated heads in the 1950s. They're showing murder and all of those things in an era where you can't even show any of that on TV. No movies will even show it. And here they got blood in a comic book. So they were pushing boundaries, and then it got so, it was as safe as what you read in the, the comic strips in the newspaper. So nothing had edge beyond that.
Same thing happened in the movies at that time too. Like if you look back, like, 50s are like the tamest, kind of like most boring decade, at least in my opinion, and like all the cinema.
Not a lot of great movies in there.
No, and then they got hit hard by TV, and they tried to compensate in the wrong ways. Like it was like society was just kind of like, I think, stifled, back then, and creativity, and certainly.
Yeah. Well, it's funny if you look at the 2 best books from the Silver Age, also, like we said, Spider-Man and Fantastic Four. Those are the 2 that Stan Lee by far cared the most about. Plus, you had Kirby on Fantastic Four. So, those were the ones that became the standouts, and everything else was just like, we're just crapping out books because it's selling. We don't give it. I mean,
they're making us money.
I mean, Stan Lee famously, like in issue number 2, forgot what he had named Bruce Banner in issue number 1 and gave him a different name. He like they just didn't. They were just putting crap out there. But it kind of all came together later. When you talk like 70s, early 80s is when really it started form and take shape into what it was. It's hard because everyone's like, no, Silver Age is the best stuff because we all remember the IP that we love from that era. But if you read that era, it ain't that good. I love the X-Men, but man, those early X-Men stories are a fucking struggle bus. True.
I bought the collection of that early X-Men when I saw they had those Marvel Masterworks. I'm like, yes, and I read, and I think I got halfway through issue 2, and I'm like, that's I'm glad they created those characters, but it's a slog to get through. So
no one's favorite ex-villain is El Tigre for a reason.
Yeah.
No one's, okay. Never returned. Never, it's like just.
All right, so Fred, what's your unpopular opinion?
Well, I was also wrestling with a few of these, but I think kind of going with something tied to the zeitgeist right now. Winter Soldier, the Captain America, the Winter Soldier, is my least favorite Captain America movie.
Even the new one?
Even the new one.
I haven't seen the new one, so I can't jet. So
Greg, I saw your face there, man. It was like, whoa.
Hey, but that's all right. This is not supposed to be opinion most of the people are going to agree with. Like, all right, a popular opinion.
Here's why. Okay,
right, let's hear your reason. So I want to know how you think that one.
So I think the reason why like that movie kind of like stands out to people is because like it shifts genres a little bit, and it's like a bit of like an espionage thriller and like a Marvel universe and stuff like that. Me personally, I don't really see the distinction. I feel like it's kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's kind of a Marvel-y movie, but it's like not like, to me, kind of what I what I look for in a Marvel movie. It doesn't feel like an espionage movie. Like if I'm going to watch like an espionage movie, I'm going to want something with kind of like more adult, like kind of real world themes and real world stakes. It's kind of something that we're drawing on. So it kind of has this like kind of like kiddie feel, kind of like, Marvel-y, kind of almost kiddie feel to like an espionage story. So for me, it kind of divides its focus. It doesn't really work as either one. And I think Captain America Civil War is like, arguably the high bar for like Marvel movies for me. Like maybe it's in my top 3. I don't know if like it beats Guardians or Infinity War, but it's certainly close. If you look at, I love Brave New World for what it was. Like if you stop like making the distinction that like I think that like this is like an espionage movie and it's more sophisticated, and you just take a step back, I think that's the most fun one, right? The idea and like I watched it again the other day. The action scenes are pretty cool. Like when you like that whole thing over the open ocean was a really awesome scene. It was kind of unlike anything that we'd seen in a Marvel movie. And then like, spoiler alert, but the finale with I think we all know who, is just a lot of fun, and it's everything I would want in that kind of like, action scene. It's not, maybe not sophisticated, but it's like not really even trying to be. And Captain America, the First Avenger, kind of has, it's almost, I almost put it like in the same category as Winter Soldier, because it's got that weird like, hey, we're trying to do something real worldy, but we're still like fighting with alien space technology and like whatever. But I think that one has more of that kind of golden age nostalgia that I like. And it puts that above for me. For whatever reason, I just don't connect to Winter Soldier at all. I don't see the fun in it. I don't see the kind of like the themes of it, and it just misses for me in this weird way. And whenever like I get into like arguments with people about like the top 5 or 10, Marvel properties, that's always in everybody else's list, and I just can't even. It's near the bottom for me. I just don't get it.
I will say I understand your point of view. I mean, I like that movie a lot. It's one of my top for sure. But I understand your point of view of like it being not really a spy thriller or a Marvel movie. I think that is one of the problems with Marvel movies in general, is that they can't actually have a real take or voice on any of their films. Like they're just all, because they have to have a broad enough audience to capture everyone in America and China and all these other markets. Like, so they don't really have a hard take. Like if they, it's like when they were, not that this is Marvel, it's Marvel adjacent, but like when they were making the New Mutants movie, there was all this rumors that it's a horror movie. They're making a horror movie. And I'm like, oh, great, horror movie with Demon Bear and Darkchild. And I'm like, this could be really dope. And then it came out and it was like, had some soft elements of it. And I'm like, it was neither fish nor foul, it's not a horror movie. It's not a New Mutants. If you had leaned in all the way to the horror, this could have been a really great movie, but they just do like part of this and a little bit of this because they have to make sure it doesn't offend anyone, and it's soft around the edges to make it deliverable, palatable to fucking everyone. And it just becomes like, it just becomes nothing,
Yeah. That's when they have to play in this perfect thing and build to the next movie, I think it hurts it more. And Yeah, I have the more unpopular opinion about Captain America. I think that Civil War is as bad as Batman versus Superman.
Oh, okay.
So I'll pivot my thing because it's
Sure.
just it follows the same trajectory of like, okay, we're gonna get these two feuding and then eventually they'll be friends. And I just, as I was watching, I'm like, people are angry about Batman versus Superman, and rightfully so. It was a pile of dog shit. But
Yes.
I was watching Civil War. I'm like, it's the same story beats, and why are people loving this one just because it's got Spider-Man in it? Yeah, like, okay, cool, Spider-Man, okay, cool, Ant-Man. But it's like, it's following the same story beats, better, but more well done. But in the end, it feels very much repeating the same things. And on rewatching it, I'm just like, yeah, I don't enjoy that movie. It was more like the theater clap moments is what built that movie and makes them in their head like, ooh, check it out, Black Panther. Ooh, look, Spider-Man. Ooh, look. It's like you're trying to distract me with shiny things, and I'm not here for that. Don't fuck with me, Marvel. So
yeah, Civil War has some disconnect too. Like I don't really, it's weird. The thing that I love the most about Civil War is the thing that, like, if you think about it for 2 seconds, you kind of hate the most. And that's that, like, I love that, like, them on this side, charge and fight. But like, you can't like think for like 2 seconds that like this like political issue is really going to put like, friends like trying to kill each other. Like there's not enough like stakes in there. The only one that's really got a reason to fight is like maybe T'Challa, and maybe, like, I feel like a conversation would have probably resolved the Civil War.
Like a phone call. Maybe. How about DM me first before
like a FaceTime? Tony, I've got an army here. Yeah, I've got one too. Like, I mean, what are they like? Because if you think about it, like, what are they really doing then? Are they pulling punches? Are they just like play fighting with each other? Like, they're not trying to kill each other, I don't think. Oh shit, man! Maybe they're all the Captain Americas are just.
Yeah, so there we go. The new unpopular opinion is that Captain America movies just aren't very good.
Well, Ed, I have maybe a possibly more unpopular opinion for you, given your last comment. I don't hate Batman versus Superman. Here's the thing. I want to be clear. It's not a good movie. I fully understand that. But like, I can watch that movie and just turn off my brain and be like, this is 2 hours of just like punchy fun. Like I'm not expecting, and maybe because I went into it also not expecting anything great out of it. So like, I'm really good at the expectations of a movie. I can tape myself. Like, even like I went into Madam Web and I'm like, whatever. And I watched it for 2 hours. I watched it for 2 hours and I'm like, it was fine. Like, it happened. It wasn't great. It doesn't deserve any praise. And there's like some definite weird holes, but I'm like, I was entertained the whole time enough to sit there and like eat popcorn.
I had the most fun watching Madam Web. Like,
it was. It's fun. It's not good. It's fun.
No, it's and part of it is like how kind of like bad at times it is. Like the blatancy of which like they do the Pepsi placement is like insane. Like, I mean, the final scene is them fighting on a giant Pepsi sign. Like Pepsi must have paid for that movie and then some. And then like the plot, like, oh my God, thank God she took that 2 seconds to bond with them over CPR, or else like it's just so like it's like
it's not good, but it's but I can appreciate that because they're like, listen, we made this kind of shitty movie. It was like superhero movie. It is what it is. It's pop. I appreciate that more than walking into a movie like Shang-Chi, where they're like, this is a really important movie. There's a lot of Asian people in this movie, so it's even more important. And I'm like, all right. And then I watch it. I'm like, it wasn't that important, and it was pretty bad.
It's like one of my least favorite Marvel movies.
You're an asshole if you say that, because it was like, because you're like, here's another thing. I don't like Black Panther that much. I don't think those movies are that great. But again, you're like, it's supposed to be this precious, great movie. And you're like, I don't know. I hate it. I'm more likely to push back against it because people tell me it's supposed to be so good, but their only reason is because of like the fucking color of people's skin in the movie. And I'm like, that's not a reason for it to be good. Like, it can be good because it's that, but we shouldn't love it just because it's that, Well,
I think I like the first Black Panther movie for a lot of reasons, but it's not because I think the story is great. Like the story is like kind of very, you know, like screenwriting paint by numbers and stuff. Like nobody actually thinks T'Challa's dead when Killmonger takes over. Like he's obviously coming back. You know, it's like, you know, there's like those stakes aren't there. But I liked Black Panther for what it was. Like the, you know, the way they wove like the culture into the world building and stuff like that. Now, conversely, Black Panther 2 is my absolute least favorite Marvel movie because they missed everything on that one. But the first one like works, and like I see what you're saying, but I think it's like it's a mix. Like it's not just that; it's like a lot of the world building that went into it that makes it like whatever. But from a plot point of view, like I think like the production design I think is very sophisticated. I think the acting's great. I think like a lot of it works, but the plot is just really paint by numbers to the point that I was like, you know, I didn't feel, I mean, it felt like a Rocky movie. Like, okay, he's got to lose this fight because he's going to come back and win the big one later. Like, you know, they could have worked on that a little more.
It is kind of the problem, like we talked about earlier, though, with like a Marvel or superhero movie in general. To me, there's like a cap on how good they can be. You know, like it's not life-changing, game-changing cinema. You know, like they have a cap on how good, like they can be really good for a superhero movie, but you're not going to put any superhero movie up there with like fucking Citizen Kane or something, you know, or whatever you think you're best. Like,
not yet. It could. You know, I mean, you can. I think there have been like leaps forward that, like, you know, like I think, you know, I mean, obviously everybody says like The Dark Knight, you know, has shown that like you can. I think the problem is people are safe, like really now, like really safe in the. I think what you need really is like. This is going to sound weird, but like an independent superhero film, you know, something done outside of the studio system without an IP property where you go in kind of trying to tell the story and not trying to satisfy an audience and worrying about like the business side of making a movie.
Yeah, selling
merchandise. It's doable, but I don't think anybody's got there yet. And it's
not about the toys, not about the Happy Meals, and not about the make sure you connect it to this or that, because that's Marvel's biggest thing is they force the connections. And I know the original director of Ant-Man, they were telling me, no, make sure. And you can't just tell your movie. You can't just tell your story. No, you have to tell your story, but make sure you bring in Falcon. Make sure you do this. And some of those times, like in the first Ant-Man, when they bring Falcon in, it just feels so forced.
Yeah.
But it's like, we need to set up this. We need to set up Civil War. And remember, because Civil War is going to happen. And when you map everything out, it's great. I mean, I wish the people who were making that second or the third trilogy of Star Wars movies had spent 5 minutes mapping the full trilogy out and actually made a plot where, you know, you knew where it was going to go. But with Marvel, they almost make too much, where it's like, you can't tell a story by itself. Every story has to connect and get that piece where it matters, you know, 2 movies from now. Instead of just saying, okay, we'll give you that connective thread in the post-credit scene. If they could just leave it to that and let each movie tell its own story. And then the post-credits, okay, now post-credits, let's see Ant-Man and let's see him with the Falcon, set up that, but let the movie stand alone. And Marvel doesn't. And I think that's what made such a mess of Marvel is they had a perfectly planned set of phases. And then when those ended, they're like, oh shit, where do we go from here? Krang, whoops, or, you know, the King story, never mind. We don't want to do that. And now let people like Robert Downey Jr. just bring him back. So I think Marvel forcing their hands of the filmmakers has ruined the Marvel universe. And maybe they'll fix it. Fantastic Four might.
I think Marvel has a hard time trusting filmmakers too. Like they don't bring in writers to television. They don't really go for like directors. Like the Ant-Man, you know, was originally directed by Edgar Wright, you know, it was going to be. He's like a director. Like, you know, his movies have like a visual style and stuff. I think the best directed movie in the Marvel, you know, cinematic universe is probably Multiverse of Madness, you know, because you actually had like Sam Raimi in there thinking about where the camera goes, how it moves, and how he uses it to tell the story. Like, it just looks different than everything else they did.
Yeah. That was, I mean, honestly, that movie's not that great, but like the story, cinematically, it's definitely
it looks better than the Marvel movies. It has a different vibe at least. Yeah. So I was going to give my unpopular opinion, but I think we've given enough. So yeah, we're going to piss people off. But yeah, I was just going to say, as a Californian, In-N-Out is way overrated. So it's like, all right, and that someone's going to be
the Kevin Kline movie.
Door.
Oh, whoa! As a Californian who now lives in Texas, Whataburger is overrated. Oh my god!
I've never had
In-N-Out.
So
I've never had any of that. Like I've never been out west. I've heard about that, and the other one is apparently is it Del Taco supposed to be good?
Yeah, I like Del Taco, but that's where I worked there as a teenager, so I could make my own. I could make some pretty spectacular Del Taco food that wouldn't be on the menu, and at least they make their shit fresh. It's not bagged. I mean, they're everything is fresh. Taco Bell is all bagged, so.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
But it tastes good, so yeah. I mean, I'll go to bat for Del Taco, but that's just like I said because I worked there and I know they had to cook everything fresh, so at least there's that. But
Ed, Ed, can I say this about In-N-Out? This is my because I as a Californian who lives in Texas now, and everyone loves Whataburger, but we have In-N-Out here. This is a large point of contention, and the point I always make is yes, In-N-Out is overrated because like. It was just in California in the Southwest for so long. It's expanded a lot. And like people heard about the lore of it. What it is it's the perfect cross section of quality and price is what it is. Because you can get a double burger that's fresh made, fresh vegetables, everything's fresh on, never frozen, and you're paying $4.99.
Yeah,
$6.99.
They kept the prices low. That's the beauty of it.
Yes, $6.99 if you want fries with that. They're hand cut, fresh fries right there, all in beef tallow. None of that other fake corn oil shit. You'll never like you go to McDonald's for a burger and a double and fries, you're going to pay twice that. And
and it's like $15 for a meal at Carl's Jr. I'm like, all right.
So
I'll still go to In-N-Out, but am I going to wait 45 minutes in their drive-through? No, thanks.
Yeah,
I'll just go to the store and buy some burgers and make them myself in that same amount of time.
Yeah. There's better burgers out there, but you're going to pay way more for it's the perfect cross section of quality and price is what.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'm not going to fight that, but when people go, "Oh, this is the best burger you'll ever eat," I'm like,
of course not.
Dude, learn to cook because it's not that hard to make a good hamburger. All right, so let's head to our last topic. I always throw a music one in here. So now we're talking about a song that is forever associated with a movie or TV show. So you hear it and automatically you start to visualize a scene in your head. So we're going to go first with you, Fred, because you've had to go last all these times. So Fred, what's a song that's forever associated with a movie or TV show to you now?
So I didn't quite know how to interpret this question. So I thought of it as like a song that's been like kind of taken over by a movie or a TV show.
Yeah, something like that. Like now you hear the song and you now see the TV show instead. Like I would think of, the opening scene of Reservoir Dogs. And when they're walking to that song is that scene. You see, if you were to hear that song on the radio, you would see the Reservoir Dogs walking. And I don't know the name of the song, so that wasn't my pick, but just something like that where now a scene is created in your mind because that song has become a scene of a movie or of a television show.
So I think the one that came to mind for me was like the dark one, and that would be Singing in the Rain in A Clockwork Orange. For whatever reason, like, I mean, I grew up like in the musicals and stuff. When I saw Clockwork Orange, that completely changed. Like now, anytime I think of that song, I hear it in Malcolm McDowell's voice and I'm brought back to the imagery. So in that way, it's kind of spoiled the joyousness of Singing in the Rain.
Yeah, so there you go. You're right on topic. So you have it exactly right. Where now that song is now part of the movie and you see him kicking people and singing it.
Like I kick on the beat. Yeah, it's like bum bum. And I'm like, oh God. But yeah, I think that one is definitely. And recently, another one that, my God, like Deadpool and Wolverine completely co-opted like a prayer for me. Like I think they play that at my day job all the time now. And I just like snap back to that movie and then walking around the corner in slow-mo. So Deadpool and Wolverine also stole that song and made it their own in a way that I'm, forever linked to it now.
Yeah. So Deece, what's one for you?
Again, I was trying to keep this comic book related. So my thought was Kissed by a Rose by Phil. I can't. Also, it didn't help that the music video was just Batman Forever.
Batman, yeah.
But like, I grew up in a time when we didn't have a lot. You watched music videos still, but. And it's so crazy because that's the least Batman-y song ever been made. Like there's Nazi propaganda music that probably would have gone better with that movie. Like it just doesn't make sense at all. But for some reason, I don't know if like Warner Brothers Records had signed Seal and they're trying
maybe they must have owned the rights to Seal. And they're like, we can release this on his next album too, and it'll sell more copies. So they had to have some connection in there for sure.
Something. And it's just, but it's so funny because like it's this slow love ballad, and you're like, this has nothing. How is this Batman-y at all?
Very not Batman, yeah. It doesn't fit.
The thing I remember from that video is just like the him on top of the next to the bat signal, and like the wind blowing in his silk pajamas with like the shirt like underneath, and I was like, as a kid, I was like, man, like I got to start, getting some abs going or something, man. Like, dude put me to shame. But yeah, that was a good one. Because again, when we were kids, it was just anything connected to the comics made it feel like it was ours. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Greg, what's yours on this one?
Bohemian Rhapsody, Wayne's World.
Yes, there you go. That's a good one.
That one. And also, I actually didn't know the name. I had to look it up. Free Guy soundtrack. That's like a movie I could just keep watching.
Okay.
Fantasy by Mariah Carey. Like I just remember that movie now because
did you not know the name of the movie, or you didn't know the name of that song?
Oh, I didn't know the name of the song.
Oh my God, that song, that music video possibly made me a man. It's just Mariah Carey in the tightest white tank top riding a roller coaster with her fucking heavies just jiggling everywhere. It's crazy.
I have never seen the video, and now I'm gonna have to go on YouTube.
That video made me a man.
Oh man. So yeah, for me, I think of Fight Club and Where Is My Mind from the Pixies. When I hear that song, and I knew the song before the movie. I knew the Pixies. It was, all the cool indie kids had to know the Pixies. When you listen to Nirvana and you would, Kurt says you gotta like the Pixies. So I sought out the Pixies. But now, even though I knew the song before, I liked the song before, I hear the song and I see buildings blowing up. I see that scene of Fight Club. So because of Fight Club, now that song is forever matched with a movie scene. So yeah, that one changed, and now I can't hear it without seeing that scene in my mind.
Have you ever looked up, or have you ever heard about the Chinese ending to Fight Club?
No.
So in Chinese movies, I forget where they cut it, but it's before the buildings come down. But they cut it to the end, and then they put up a title card that says, before the terrorist plot could be called out, the authorities showed up in time and arrested Tyler Durden. He spent several years in a mental facility, relearned his ways, and was released into society. Blah blah blah. Like it's basically it's like their way of saying don't get any ideas. We don't like this stuff. Like the authority always wins. But look it up. It's pretty nuts.
That's crazy. Yeah, I gotta check that one out. I gotta look on the Blu-ray too, because I have that Blu-ray, and I wonder if they threw that in there just for fun. So otherwise, I'm sure YouTube has it, because
YouTube does have. That's where I saw it.
There. Yeah, that's so crazy. All right, so now let's talk about what we have going on. I know, Greg, you have a live campaign. The rest of us have late pledges that you can check out. So I'm going to pull Greg's up first. So just give me a quick moment. So Night Watch 1 with Fish, who did the art. So we got to get Fish in here one week so he can talk about his art on this one. But hold on a second. There we go. All right, so tell us a little bit about Night Watch number 1.
It's an MMA fighter that turns to a vigilante. He wins one last championship, and then he basically retires. He is on a revenge path to avenge his best friend's death. So, yeah. So he thinks it's the Russian mafia, or we're doing a lot of world building, so we have our own Earth and stuff called Venetia, and instead of Russia, we have a place called Bana, so it's Banian instead of Russian.
Okay,
same thing. So yeah, he beats the shit out of a bunch of mafia people, and yeah.
Yeah, so because I guess if he's an MMA fighter, not many of the mafia people are going to have much of a chance to take him down in a fight. So yeah, this is, how many issues is this one going to be?
The first plot arc is 3 issues.
Okay.
Yeah. Just trying to hit a stretch goal or 2 would be awesome. So that'd be like, hey, I don't have to use my own paychecks to pay him.
Yeah, isn't that the dream?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, let's not have to spend our own money, but here we are making the indie comics, and here's George Martin not writing books, making all the money. So what we need to do is stop writing and make people anticipate what comes next. Be like, no, you got to wait.
Yeah. And for the $75 tier, there's going to be a T-shirt Dylan came up with yesterday.
Okay.
It's literally the logo that will be on the T-shirt, but
Very cool.
just didn't finish it yet.
So it'll be in there. You'll get that, and then the 100 is that kind of the everything you want all in one shot. Let's see, physical issue 1.
You actually do get everything.
Art print, trading card, yeah. So
and an art commissioned by Fish. So
yes, very cool. And then you have your add-ons, your stickers, your keychain.
I love the belt, title belt.
Yeah, that's.
We were gonna do a real like championship belt, but it's like $79 for one. Yeah, and I'm like, how am I gonna ship that? So
Yeah, then the shipping, because if it comes with a ding, then you're getting it sent right back. So yeah.
And when we hit the 50 backer goal, we not only unlock that backer goal PDF, but we're doing another art print. So anybody that has a high tier from like $50 up, they're gonna automatically get that, and then it's gonna be added on as an add-on if you want to get it. It's a mugshot of the Anton Pavlov dude. He's beaten up, and Fish drew it in like seconds after I'm like, yeah, I have an idea, and then he drew it. I was like, oh, all right.
Love that.
Yeah.
It makes me want to be an artist, but I would just give the stick man. That's my 2-second drawing. So yeah,
the comic is done. So all I'm gonna do is like, we gotta
get it sent off to the printer.
Yep.
And it's about so it's at 1224 of the 2000 goal. Let me get this copied real quick so I can throw it into the chat as well. So if you haven't had a chance to back this one, I know I did it because that's where you can see mine will say manage pledge. So yeah, let me drop that in the chat for everyone.
Also says you have backer surveys to do.
Yeah. I do, yeah. Those are new. I did some yesterday. So those
one might be Anthony Castro's.
Those ones just popped up. So there we go. There's that link. It is in there. I'm going to also drop it just in this one as well. So it'll go to all the other places. You definitely want to back this one. He always brings good stuff. I back all Greg's stuff. So yes, you can look at my history and see it's worth backing. You don't even need to know. Just see the name, back the project. That's as simple as it needs to be.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna pull these banners off because I realize I'm blocking Deece. He just disappeared, and I did the same thing to Travis on my music show on Wednesday. Whenever I'd show something, I'm like, oh shoot, Travis is hiding. So let me not remove my guest. So
Travis can hide. It's fine.
Travis, he still told us what we needed to hear, so it was good. We were talking about My Chemical Romance. So we had our emo show, and it was
that's cool. I missed that. Oh.
Yeah, we do. That's the Wednesday show. We always talk about a new album, and it was My Chemical Romance for this week. Next week is Elvis Costello. That's the one coming up, actually, I guess, on Wednesday. And then, I'm trying to remember. We have a full slate of stuff, and then it's all requests. All people have requested that we do certain albums, so we have a lot of requests coming up. I'm not gonna say I'm excited about them because I tend to get very pissy when I don't like an album, but I guess it's more entertaining when I hate an album than when I like one. That's what people have said. So yeah, throw the shitty ones at me and just make me angry. So I'll just yell at how much I hate something for an hour. If nothing else, you'll be entertained and you'll know that you're torturing me. So if your goal is to torture me, you will be victorious. All right.
What's the worst album that you've done? What's the one that was like pulling teeth?
Kate Bush, her first album was a god awful album. She's the Kick Inside is what it's called, and he sings like if you've ever seen the movie Scrooge, then you have Carol Kane when she's the fairy. she sings like the fairy from Scrooge. And as soon as my wife heard it, I said, holy shit, she's singing. If Carol Kane was singing an album as the character from Scrooge, that would be what I'd be listening to. She's like, oh no, I'm sure you're exaggerating. Then she went and she's like, oh shit, you're exactly right. So as soon as I think of that, as soon as I'm sitting on the couch listening to this album, I'm like, oh damn, this whole album, I'm going to hear Carol Kane singing it. And I'm going to visualize that in my head. And it all went downhill from there, because it's just like, I started making all these angry things like, okay, what can I compare her voice to? A cat dying in a dryer. Okay, I'm going to do that. And yeah, I mean, I spent an hour saying how much I despise her voice. I did make sure I spent time talking about her influence in modern music, especially indie, with the indie singer, songwriter, females. I did my due diligence and my research, but that was the first one we got like a hateful comment. And she called me a 10-year-old boy. And I'm like, yes, we are all 10-year-old boys in rotting flesh. Leave me alone. So
it's a great response.
So yeah, that was the one where it's like, that's the low bar. Although 2 weeks ago we had to do Joe Walsh, and he's damn close to that Kate Bush one. So it was one of those ones where he has that song Rocky Mountain Way, and that was the only song I knew from Joe Walsh, and it was kind of like a bar rocking song. I'm like, okay, cool, that's the vibe we're going for. And then it gets into this god awful bullshit. I don't even know what I would classify it as, prog rocky, soft rock. And yeah, it lost me. And for an hour and a half, my mind was lost, and I broke my co-host, but that's okay. That's why he tunes in for the weeks that I'm going to break him with my upset feelings about an album. But yeah, I guess Elvis Costello is coming up. Let's hope. I mean, I like Elvis Costello, so I don't think I'm going to come in with that level of anger. But Kate Bush and Joe Walsh, those are the two that they nearly destroyed me. I was like, how long does this album have left? It has to end soon. It can't keep going. And it did. I had to flip it over. I had to go flip the vinyl like, no, fuck, there's a whole nother side of this. If I were in the real world and not doing this for a show, I'd have never listened to side B. But I got to be objective, and I got to write notes. But my notes got progressively weirder, and I started trying to figure out weird metaphors I could make about the music. So, yes, tune in. See if I lose my mind. And if not, go back and check out those episodes and send me more hate, because the hate that I got from that woman, it was beautiful. She wrote multi-paragraphs about why I was wrong and why I was stupid. And I respect that. I'm like, if you're going to take me down with style.
Yeah, go hard.
Don't just say I suck. I want a thesis about why I suck. And I'm going to tell you you're right, but that's okay. So, yeah, please tune in next on Wednesday when we talk about, and we're gonna have Chuck Pinot on it as well. So he always brings fun, because we did Gordon Lightfoot, and I definitely didn't like that album, but having Chuck on there, he was the one trying to tell me, calm down, think about this rationally, because I hate 70s music. I mean, if you watch the show, you'll know there's a whole theme of 70s music sucks. I mean, aside from like, all right, I'll give you Black Sabbath, I'll give you some of the 70s bands, but like 70s where you border into that yacht rock territory, or 70s soft rock, it's just that's my torture. Like you drop me in hell, and it's going to be a room that's just blasting that all day long. So like a room full of Eagles. Yeah, that's my version of torture. Like, you shall only listen to the Eagles and Steely Dan, and it's like, fuck, man, what did I do to deserve this? I was a terrible person. I'm gonna have to admit it. So, all right, we've gone on a tangent, and I'm not letting you promote.
I feel like I'm on your music show right now.
What's that?
I feel like I'm on your music show right now. You just yell.
Yeah. So hey, if any one of you want to join me, all of you in here are welcome to join me on the music show. So Deece, Fred, Greg, if you want to join me on the music show, you are always welcome. I would love to have you. And normally I like music. Lori, she tuned in. She's like, oh man, do you ever like us music? I'm like, yes. If you watch the ones that I like, there's plenty there, and those ones get like 10 viewers. So I mean, I guess no one wants to tune in to hear me say why I like something.
People like controversy.
They're like, all right, I want to hear that guy ranting and raving about why he's angry and what weird metaphors he can make about this particular song or album. But
yeah, you'll be like the Rush
But what did he do at Cat this week?
Yeah. So I'm thinking Lord Elvis Costello won't take me to that zone, but you never can tell. Tune in on Wednesday and find out. Yeah, like I said, if any one of you guys want to join me, we'll be sending out the next batch of albums probably, I'd say about a week, because we got to set our schedule up because we actually have band interactions coming where we're going to have a couple bands come on the show and talk about it live. And those are for albums I've already heard, so we don't have to worry about the angry tirades like, oh, now that you're on here, let me tell you why your album is shit. So that's not going to work very well. But I'm going to pull up our next campaign that talk about. Now, these are all campaigns that have ended, but it is not too late. You can still get in there and get those late pledges. So let me pull up Kill Stand number 2, and then we can also put the link to your website on there as well so that they can watch it in either way. So Kill Stand 2, and I missed it. I got Kill Stand 1. I need to actually go into your web store and get this one. So tell us a little bit about Kill Stand.
Yeah, Kill Stand. It is a 10-issue series. It's about a guy who wants to end his own life. So he decides to do it through vigilantism. On its surface, it's kind of a neo-noir crime thriller, I would call it. But really, it's a character piece about him, his personal journey of loss and trauma, and the crazy things we do and think when we feel like we have nothing left to live for.
So we have 2 vigilante stories today, but just different takes on those vigilantes. One is trying to take himself out as a vigilante, and the other one is trying to avenge. So yeah, you gotta love the vigilante is such a great thing to do in comics and stories, because it's just, someone's definitely at their lowest and the wit's end point, and what are they going to do with that? And I love the art in both of them. I love the art from from Night Watch, and this art looks amazing as well. So who's your artist on this one?
His name's Felipe Sobreira. Felipe is an amazing artist out of Brazil that I work with. And then I got to give a shout out to my colorist and letter, Jimmy G. Also, we worked a lot. I was very specific about the art and the coloring. I do panel layouts for the book and kind of thumbnails to break down how the pages are going to look. And then Felipe just nails it. And then the coloring, I really was specific about the saturation color tones we're using. On the first issue, Jimmy and I went back and forth a couple times until he kind of figured out what I was looking for. And now, he's just fucking nailing it.
Yeah, it looks great.
Thank you. Yeah. So, number 2, we just got copies of number 2, or we'll just be getting them this week. I'll have them in hand. We've got 4 different covers. And then we're about to start the Kickstarter for number 3 soon. Number 3, the art's just getting started. So we're probably about 3 months out till we get number 3 on the shelves, but we're trying to do about every 3 months, get another issue out. Unless I can convince Felipe to quit his day job, and that would just require me paying him more. So
yeah. 3 months is good. Just think about it in George Martin pace. You are the Flash.
Yeah. Crushing it. Fuck you, George Martin. You piece of shit.
Yeah, look at me. I got 3 books this year.
So yeah.
You just cry into your pile of money because you're jealous of my output. All right, so definitely check that one out. I need to order it because I read issue 1. I enjoyed it. I need to do. I'm going to bring back. I have my little 1-minute book reviews, so I need to feature your book. I did it for Ink from Greg's series. I just haven't done it for a while because honestly, just you get busy right now. I'm a teacher, so you get busy in the school year. But summer is when I kind of just I'll crank out a lot of those and start doing them weekly. So I got to do it for Kill Stand number 1. So we can feature that on there because it's a lot of fun, and it's just kind of writing those little 1-minute reviews is a good time because you gotta really get to the point. If you only have a minute to talk about something, you can't talk so much about plot points and threads. It's like, nope, just give us the meat of it and then let people go seek it out themselves. So I'll definitely get you featured on that one once I start making them again this summer.
Yeah, and don't if you, for people looking to get it, I would say go to inferno.earth. That's our website, and go to shop, and we've got more covers up there than we have on the Kickstarter. It's cheaper. We'll get it to you faster.
Let me get
And that's the best place to go. I get those emails quicker than I do from the stuff from Fulfilling on Kickstarter. But yeah, if you like kind of high octane thrillers with a real base, but really kind of with a lot of character piece involved, you'll love this. It's relentless. It keeps moving. We really wanted to make the pace just every panel is like just we wanted to keep hitting, never really give people a chance to breathe.
Yeah, you gotta love that. And I'm just putting the link for inferno.earth in there so that way you can get it faster that way. So that's the way I will go pick up my copy of issue 2 the faster and easier way. So let me just give me 1 second and let me get Fred's up here. And yours is Fisticuffs?
Yes, sir.
Let me get that ready. All right, so tell us a little bit about Fisticuffs.
All right. Fisticuffs is about a functional drunk whose comfortable life derails when a one-night stand has deadly consequences. It is a darkly humorous story with noir elements, some super elements as well. The thing that we most often get comparisons to are Preacher and the Boys and the work of Frank Miller. We've been fortunate enough to be compared to. It features Stan Yak as the artist. You may be familiar with him. He was very popular with his Last Ronin covers that he did a few years back. We have Robert Nugent doing colors, who you may know he's killing it on Spawn right now. He's about to be on She Spawn with Gail Simone very soon. And Dave Sharp absolutely nails the letters and the logo on this. He really adds like a nice, like emphatic level and layer to the storytelling. So Fisticuffs is a 6-issue miniseries. The campaign that is complete now, but in late pledges, is for books 1 and 2. This summer, we plan to launch book 3 and then 4, 5, and 6 subsequently with 1 campaign each. And like I said, books 1 through 6 are complete. We're just coloring and lettering the remainder of the book. And yeah, we hope you guys will take a chance on this. As I said before, this is a book that's best served cold. It's best to go in without spoilers, best to not hear the reason why you should be tuning in. If you guys are feeling adventurous, I recommend, jumping in and, seeing how you feel, at least with book 1. And I'd, be thoroughly surprised if you don't at least want to come back and see what the hell book 2 is about.
Yeah, sounds great. I love the art. I love the art in all 3 of these. They're just really good and different art. Each one has its own different and unique vibe, but it just, when you get art, you want to find art that serves your story. And it looks like what you've all found is art that serves the story that's best. So I'm putting that link in there as well. So definitely check these ones out. They are all available either as late pledges or, as Deece said, don't go to the Kickstarter. Go to his web store. You'll get it faster. You'll get it easier. If you back to the Kickstarter, then you can get that. You'll be getting yours from there. But if you didn't and you want it still, like me, that includes me in this one, you need to go in there and grab it. So this is Fisticuffs. You can get it. All the links have been placed into the chat. So I'm going to go super short with mine because people have heard mine. So I'm going to just say I'm going to turn off late pledges after the weekend, and that is for Immortal Era number 10. So this is the 10th issue of what will be, when it's all said and done, a 24-issue series that tells the story of a world in the future where everyone has gained immortality, but they haven't gained powers, they haven't gained abilities, they still age, still get sick. There's even a character in the story who's just a decapitated head who continues living on. So it centers on a group of heroes who are on a quest to seek out relics that would bring death back into the world, because their goal is to restore the natural life cycle and save humanity by killing them. And we're gearing up. This is issue 10. Issue 12 will close out our second story arc. And I have basically this story arc, we have huge things that are going to happen. I've been saying it all along. This is the story arc that I blow up my world. And you'll see how that is an actual literal statement. Both my editors that work on the book both said, holy shit, I know you said you were going to do it, but I was not ready for what you just did. So a lot of big things are going to be coming in issues 10, 11, and 12. 10 kind of sets all the pieces in place so that 11 and 12 shit just goes crazy. So yeah, still have a chance to back that one. It's after that, I will be putting it in the web store. So if you don't want to put it in the Kickstarter and you just would rather wait a little bit, it'll be in the web store after next week, because today is the day I finish up with all of my pledges, or not all of my pledges, but sending out all the pledges. I'm at like 10 left. So I've just been doing it throughout the week to try to get it done. And now we've reached a point that it is almost there. So that's after this, I'm going to play an Elvis Costello album that I can talk about on Wednesday while sending boxes to people on their Kickstarter. So if you want to grab it on the late pledge, if you want to get some of the merch and stuff like that, that I don't usually put on the web store. It's just kind of the books and the variants. But yeah, check it out. Check out all these books. Greg's is still live. This one, don't wait. With Deece, mine, you can wait. You can buy it on the web store. But Greg's, no, he needs to get this thing funded so that you can get this book. It's ready to go. You have the amazing art from Fish. You have what's going to be another good story, because like I said, Greg is one of my Insta-buy guys. I see his name, I buy a book. That's how we go, and that's what you should do. Do the same thing, and you should do the same thing for Deece and Fred. Just know, look at that art, listen to the stories they're talking about, and let Fred's book just surprise you, because that's what I got to do. I got to get in, grab these ones with late pledges, and check them out. Because yeah, I love the ideas. I read Kill Stand #1, so now I got to get 2, and I think it was one of those ones where it's just like you forget, and then it gets too far gone and you miss it. But yeah, with late pledges, no more excuses. You can forget, but guess what? You can unforget the next day. Campaign closed, but you're not out of luck. You're not out of time. Get in there and back these ones, or go to the web store and pick them up. And with that, we're gonna we're gonna move into our sponsors. So I have a few sponsor ads to play. So just give me a moment. And yeah, Deece has a show on the network as well, so he knows we got to play our sponsor ads for those amazing people who actually put them in there for us. So you gotta love that. And I gotta see, where the heck is that? There we go. Like, I have this comment showing, but where is it? Because I just dropped it in a whole, and it shows it on all the different things. But yeah, let's check out our first sponsor ad. Give me one moment here. And that is the Silver Line. I think that is Fish himself. So the man Fish has another thing that's coming up, and you can get all kinds of Fish work. So get it all. Let's start with Greg's, because his is right here and right now.
Cat and mouse vipers. Giant child-snatching vipers are terrorizing New Orleans, pulling children from their homes in the middle of the night in their eagerness to take on human trafficking in the city. Cat and mouse find themselves in the thick of it. Crime, action, drama, with a smattering of superheroics. Now, like Roland Mann said, our head honcho here at Silverline, go do some backing, and we appreciate your support.
And that's not Fish. I lied. So that one, I don't even know if I had to play it, but go do some backing. You heard him. So now, for real, I promised Fish, I deliver Fish. Here we go.
Beyond the world we know is a place where reality bends and time stands still. A place where legends, fairy tales, and nightmares are real. A world where legends are born and destinies collide. Alice has spent her life lost in an interdimensional rift known as Wonderland, and it forged her into a deadly bounty hunter. With her ancient clockwork guardian Big Ten by her side, they hunt the things that stalk the shadows of Wonderland. Alice Lost in Wonderland, issues 1 and 2 launch May 6 on Kickstarter. Follow along at GoMrFish.com.
So there's Fish. You can go follow along at GoMrFish.com. You can go buy a book with art by Fish right now. There's no need to wait. Greg is waiting for you to hit that pledge button, so do it. All right, so now let's see this one. All right. So I saw plushies, I saw things, but yeah, let's go to our next one. And I do need to get better with sponsor ads. I guess we could start doing one between each segment, but just wait till the end. So it's like commercial break at the very end of the show. But all right, we got one more. Let's check it out. All right. So as Travis pointed out on my show on Wednesday, if you move to a town called Slaughterville, you kind of get what you deserve if you die. Like you made your choice and deal with it. Like, okay, there's plenty of other cities you can visit. The real estate must be dirt cheap. You're like, there's all the murders, but fuck it. This house is so affordable. I'm taking my chance. All right. So thank you all for coming on. Thanks for engaging with some great conversation today. I appreciate having you. And anytime you want to come on again, let me know. You're always welcome here. And like I said, if you want to come talk music, you're welcome there as well.
All right.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
All right. So until then, we will see you actually, I think like 2 weeks because I have work things going on in the next couple weeks. But I will post the schedule up and let people know. But until then, have a great weekend and see you on Wednesday.
On the tube and feel the vibe. Every show you crave right here live. Heroes and villains clash in the night. Madness Comic Network sets it right. Scroll through the list, find what you need. Epic battles and fast-paced speed. From capes to cosmic space delight. Tune in and watch your favorites ignite. On Facebook, share the thrill so grand. On X, the buzz across the land. Madness Comic Network all around. In every episode, joy is found. Uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days. New uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens day.